Bitcoin and Litecoin, is the correction over, or do we still have more downside to go? What's up, guys? Crypto Savvy here. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Wednesday. We're going to take a look at the charts, starting off with Litecoin, then we're going to move on to Bitcoin, and then stick around to the end of the video. I still believe we're on track to 46,000 by the end of the year, and I'll show you why in the Bitcoin daily versus the gold weekly chart. If you haven't seen that, definitely stick around. Even if you have, we're going to take a look at it and see where we're at and how it's looking, so definitely stick around for that. Also, guys, a reminder, we have a 100% free Discord, best community in crypto by far. Definitely check it out. The link is in the description below the video. Like I said, absolutely free. We don't charge for anything, as I don't believe in charging for information. It's a great community, guys. Check it out. Also, there's some affiliate links in there that really help the channel out. I'd appreciate it if you check them out. With that being said, let's get on with the video and see what's going on. Alright guys, as always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion and my view of the market only. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market can be extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind, it's still a speculative market. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose. And with that being said, if you're new here, you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand side of the screen. That'll get you subscribed to the channel. Then if you tick that little notification bell, that'll get you notified when I post new videos, as I do post videos every day, and I usually do a couple live streams during the week. So definitely don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't miss out on anything. I try to keep you updated. And guys, help the channel out. Smash those likes, leave your comments, and let's get on with the video. So it's kind of a cluster of a bunch of targets here. Right where we're at right now is kind of, you know, everybody's confused. But I want to take a look at the higher targets first, because I do believe these higher targets are going to play out. We had been looking at this neckline of $99 to $100 for this cup and handle here. If I compress it a little, but I guess I can't compress. Oh, hold on a minute. Going to the daily. There we go. That's better. So we're looking at this as a cup and a handle, and the neckline around $100. And if we take the measured move up to the breakout, it's 180. Still believe we're headed to 180, guys. Even if we do go, you know, to lower lows, but I don't believe we are going to. The more that this is playing out, the better it's looking, guys. We're gonna look at the, actually, sorry about that, we're gonna take a look at the next targets. If we were to break out here, I have a, as we're in this rising channel here, if we were to get up here and break through around the 164 range, my target on that is around the 275. Now, if we kind of crawl along in this channel before breaking out and get up to our 180 target and break from that area, then my target's 300. Now, guys, that's not my target for the end of the year for Litecoin. The end of the year target for Bitcoin for me is 46,000, and that would put Litecoin somewhere between $600 and $1,000 for the end of the year, if I'm correct on the $46,000 call for Bitcoin. So those measured moves are off of this as a wedge here. I have another trend line drawn here, which would match up with these. You know, this would be October-ish. This would be September-ish, the 274. 180 would be sometime in July. So keep that in mind where we're at there. Now we're going to look at the daily RSI. As you can see, we had the rising channel that we were in, then we had a falling channel here and fell out of the rising channel. I do believe we're probably most likely going to come up and test the top of this. Again, this is the daily. This takes a while to play out, guys. Always keep in mind we could still go down from here, but I'm definitely steering more upward momentum. Now, looking at this, we had the falling wedge with all these falling channels within it. And we're in a falling channel now, which we had like a bear trap out of this one and continued back in it. Now the question is, do we come back down for another test on the bottom of this channel or a test on the bigger channel? That'll be our bearish scenario, and then we'll take a look at the bullish scenario. But let's take a look at it in the price action and see what we're looking at here. So yesterday I showed you guys the measured move if this was a ABC correction and this whole thing was a wave 3. As you know, I'm not a big fan of Elliott wave. It can help in certain places when you get a clear count, but I want to look at this. We did a measured move of the break of this ABC, which would be down to the $100 range, but this could be a flat correction, and you know, we could be continuing up from here, which is very likely. This is like a W pattern forming right here. But again, if we do come down, I do see this blue line probably holding, and that would be a flat ABC correction. So as we move on, this target would move up for the blue. The $100 target, which would be the zigzag ABC correction target, remains the same. But like I said, this one moves. Now we're looking at around the $110 range. Could go a little lower, I guess, if we were to go straight down. So let me put it there. Yeah, around the 110, 110.50 range. And if that blue line was to break, then I believe we're probably most likely headed towards our $100 target. And if that was to break, again, guys, this is the bearish case scenario. I don't believe this blue line is going to break. But we do have an ultimate. Well, let me show you first. This 86, if we go into the daily, that would be lining up with our 200 EMA. So that's why that target's there. I'm going to go back into the 4-hour and take a look at the worst case scenario, guys, which would be coming to retest the bottom of this long-term trend line where we bottomed out back in December. But I believe this is highly unlikely. First, let's see if we if this blue line holds, and we'll know more from there. So now let me go to what I believe is happening. Like I said, there's my $180 target, and if we look at this, if we continue straight up from here, like I showed you in the daily, if we were to break out, were to come up, test this, get a little rejection, maybe get a bull flag or whatnot, and come up, then my target is the 217 range, which would be touching the top of this. I believe this trend line right here is going to be very important, guys. Very important. So if we were to come up here, break through around the 160 range, somewhere in there, 167 range, break through the top of this, then our target's going to be 217, 220, somewhere in that area, which would bring us to somewhere in the middle of July. We could possibly get there if that plays out like that. But if we stay within here and come up to the top of this channel to our target, the 180 range, this would be the end of July. And then a break of that would get us up to that 235 range, which would also be end of July, beginning of August, if these trend lines play out like they seem to be. Either way, these targets are still valid as long as we don't break. It can still be valid if we come down and test the $100 for the ABC correction. But the more we stay up here, guys, the less and less likely that's looking. But I am not taking it off the table yet. And obviously, we looked at the higher target, 300. That would be probably somewhere around, let's see, maybe end of September, somewhere in there to be 300. And that would play out nicely for the end of the year target of Bitcoin being 46,000. Like I said, Litecoin I would see at 500 or 600 to $1,000. So let's look at this. I've got some new stuff we're looking at, or I'm looking at here in the Bitcoin chart. It's very interesting, guys, and I'll zoom in and take a look in the 4-hour. But we have these patterns here of this falling channel. Then it was almost a straight channel, a little more of a curve on the next one, more of a curve on the next one. Now do we see an even bigger curve? And we'll take a look at that on the 4-hour, like I said. But first, we're going to take a look at our higher targets here and why I believe we might reach them. And I'll show you how I got the 14.6 target, which is very possible that's where we're headed right now, guys. Keep an eye on it. Let's see. Right here I have a measured move. If we were to break through this 14.6, which is my target of this breaking out of this wedge here, that'd get us up to the $20,000 range. And the bigger target of that would be measuring this whole deal right here as a rising broadening wedge. We had a rising broadening wedge here with the yellow lines earlier this year, where we broke out of in May, and our target from that was 9,600, which we hit. And then we broke out of this other rising channel, and we had a target of 13.6. I think we hit 13.8, pretty damn close. And if we were to break out, like I said, we get the 20,000 would be the breakout measured move of this channel here. This being the top of the channel, this line being the bottom. And our other target of the rising broadening wedge would be around 25,000, guys, which would be an all-time high. Definitely possible. I am pretty sure we at least see that this year, but my target still remains 46,000. I will notify you guys if that changes. So let's go into the RSI now and look what's going on. So in the RSI, as you can see, we had what seemed to be a head and shoulders here, which we broke down. This could still play out further down, guys. It's definitely possible to play further down in the daily, and that would be our more bearish scenario that we will take a look at. Let's look at the 4-hour RSI. Whoops. All right, looking at the 4-hour RSI, we had this rising broadening wedge, which we fell out of here. And then we had this falling channel, which we broken out of here, which this trend line here matches up with this trend line here, and we're getting support on the top of that wedge now, and looks like we'll be getting support on the top of this channel. Now if this channel was to break down, that would be looking at the more bearish scenario. Let's take a look at the price action now. And I told you I wanted to show you some new things that I've been looking at. Very interesting. All right, so back here in January, we started this falling channel, a descending falling channel. And then I believe this is where the parabolic motion started. And as you can see, our next channel here was a little more pointed tick to the upside. And then we had our next one a little more to the upside. And our last one, and I believe this one coming is going to be a little more of an angle upwards than this one. And I'll show you why in a second. But I do want you guys to realize we had been looking at this compared to this breakout up here. I'll draw them in so you can see them. Right there. And another one right here. Almost the same exact. You can call those a fractal. Some people don't like the definition of fractal, don't believe in fractals, but you can't deny they play out very well. Next thing we want to look at is our more immediate targets, and I'll talk more about these in a minute and what I think the next channel may look like. But we're going to look at the bearish scenario first, like I said, and that being if we were to come back down back into here, into this falling wedge, I would be looking at the bottom of this channel around 8,900. And this will all depend on if we were to fall, guys, where this would hit on the, back on the bottom of this wedge. It could be the 30.93 if it hits up a little higher, 95 if we have a straight move down. But these are the areas to watch. I'm going to change that to orange because that is a bearish target. But guys, the more we stay up here, the more it's looking like, if we zoom in, that we broke out of this rising wedge and we came down and we're getting support off it. Like I said, it is possible we continue through, but if you look at my EMAs there, they're all turning up nicely, which is real bullish. if we get all these, the 8, the 13, and the 21 EMA above this 55, the yellow one, that's going to be extremely bullish, guys. That's going to be a huge quick move up. I say quick. I don't like to put a time on things. You know, it could be a slow move up. I mean, I don't believe slow, but my target off that anyways is if you do the measured move of the wedge here, and a breakout of that wedge to where we broke out would actually get us to, actually it would be a little bit higher than that. It would be around the 14.7, yeah, around the 14.7, guys. That is my target as long as we don't break back down past this trend line here, which is going to be around the 10.6 area. We could come back down, test this, and pop up. But if we drop below that 10.6 area, guys, I believe we're headed towards the $89 to $93 range. And again, we look at the bearish scenario. If we were to come down from there, I would be looking at a retest of the top of this widening, broadening wedge, which would probably be around the $7,900 range. Absolute worst case scenario. I don't see us going lower than that, guys. I honestly am starting to believe that we're probably not going to, there's a possibility we won't even see these targets, and we move up from here straight to our 14.7 target, which if it stays within this trend line would be around the middle of July. But if it was to go straight up, this could form another one of these channels. And this isn't going to be exact, guys, but just to give you an example, I'm going to widen that real quick so you guys can take a better look, and we'll zoom out what it might end up looking like. And again, this is pure speculation, but it's definitely possible. It's looking like this is probably what's going on, but it could end up being up in this range if we break back in here. But something like this, just more of a parabolic move. Like I said, each one of these is tilting up to a little bit higher angle, and this one would be more this range. And then of course a break of this line starts bringing us to our higher highs, our way higher highs. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at, guys. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. I've been putting a lot of time trying to figure out what was going on here. I know I had called never seeing 10,000 again. If we do not break down anymore, we did only make it to what, 96. It was pretty quick. Let's see. Yeah, it would have been the 96.50 range. Not too bad off if we don't go below that again. But anyways, that's what I'm seeing there. Now, let's take another look at our gold daily chart versus the Bitcoin daily chart versus the gold weekly chart. Sorry guys, a little early. So you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, if you haven't, I believe that a pattern is a pattern, period. And this pattern is matching up perfectly with gold, and that's how I get my target the end of the year between 46 and 47,000, which is up here, guys. I do believe that's most likely gonna happen, and I'll show you why. You see these trend lines. I drew the trend line off of these resist or support marks in the bear market here, and keep an eye on the white one, and then the blue ones from these supports across the sideways. We already blew through those. Let me get this one out of here. Don't want to confuse you. Anyways, this is where I believe we're at in the gold chart, which I'm going to go over to in a minute, but keep an eye on this white line, also this blue line here, and that's right around the $24,000-$25,000 range, which is also our target up here. So it matches up pretty well. Let's look at the gold chart now. Keep an eye on that, guys. Remember, a pattern is a pattern, period. Like I said, if you look up a bull flag with a triangle flag on it in a 15-minute, usually the same exact play out as a bull flag in a weekly. So keep that in mind, because we are going to look at the weekly gold chart, and I do believe truly that this is playing out. I'm going to click back and forth so you can see it and see why I believe that's where we're at. I drew the trend lines right off of the same support lines as in Bitcoin. Same with the blue line all the way across here till it broke down. And where we broke out here, never came back to it. And this is where we're at now, guys. Kind of winging around this trend line here in Bitcoin. Same deal. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there's any way to deny that these are looking a lot alike, and this is a pattern, guys. So let's draw that in and see what it might look like. Again, it's not going to be exact, guys, like 100% exact, but we're going to take a look at what it might look like and kind of draw it in there. Whoops. Go back. Kind of draw it in there and see what it might look like. Something like this. Up here. I don't remember how far down this went, but something like this anyways. And then probably surpass gold sometime next year. That would be pretty amazing if you ask me. So let's look at it. Yeah, something similar to that. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at, guys. Let's look at the RSI now real quick. Another pretty interesting thing. Remember, guys, we've been watching this since January on this channel. Before anybody else started looking at this, we've been covering this. Let's look at the RSI. And we're going to look at the weekly to start off. And looking at the weekly RSI, as you can see over here, I have these two trend lines. This is the 2013 bull market, followed by the bear market. We had two touches of resistance on this trend line before breaking through and starting the bull run. This is the 2017 bull market, followed by the 18 bear market. Two touches of resistance before starting our bull run, just much quicker. Now, let's go into the monthly. You can see I have the two arcs drawn in here, guys. And this is the 2013 bull market followed by the bear market. Each one of these arrows represents a new low in the RSI. And after the fourth one, bull market started. 2017 bull market followed by the bear market. Four lows in the RSI, just like over here. The only difference is, guys, I truly believe this one's just going to be a lot quicker and a lot harder and a lot faster. So if you guys like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel by clicking the Crypto Savvy logo above my head and then ticking the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Like I said, I post every day to try to keep everybody updated. Also, smash the likes, guys. It really helps me out. And leave your comments. Let me know what you think of the video. And I will probably do a live stream tonight. I know I said I might yesterday, but I believe I'll get one in tonight. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. I'm out.